Good morning. Not sure if I'm live or not. Uh, Yes, I think I am. Good morning and welcome to my Monday messages. I'm Rebecca, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a homeopath, a holistic health coach, and all-round natural health advocate. And as part of my commitment to helping women to recover themselves, both inside and out, I just pop in here every Monday to share something, some practice, some idea, some thought, something that I know worked for me, and I also know works for many of the women that I work with. And I hope that they will stimulate you to mind yourselves and know yourselves and become the best version of yourselves that you can possibly be. So, okay, you're very welcome if you're watching me live, and you're equally welcome if you're watching the replay. Today, I just wanted to, I'm going to talk about legacy. And first of all, though, I wanted to share a beautiful experience that I had on Saturday. Some of you might know, but I am in the process of just upgrading my offer to my clients, the way that I work, and just integrating a lot of the different skills that I have and putting them together into a kind of super package, if you like. And part of that upgrading is to redo my website, and I committed to doing a brand new photo shoot to illustrate what I'm trying to say in that website. And it was just a fantastic day. Much of it was shooting outside in nature. And a few years back, I would have been very uncomfortable with having a photographer focus, excuse the pun, on me. And it would have been quite embarrassing, and I wouldn't have been completely comfortable. And that often then showed in the photographs that were taken of me, and then therefore I didn't really like them. And when I looked at them, all I could remember was those feelings of embarrassment and not being comfortable. But this was completely different. Because I'm a different person, and because the photographer, who is a local female photographer, Evelyn Woodard, do look her up, because if you get a chance to work with her, do, because it's just an amazing experience. She is very, very talented at what she does, but also very, very good at making you feel, or allowing you to feel, your best self. And that's what I did. I felt like a queen. I felt like a priestess. I felt like a goddess, if you like. And it didn't really matter that there was a lens pointed at me. I loved it. I had such fun. I had such a brilliant day. And it reminded me that this is how I want to feel. That was how I wanted to feel, whenever I can, really, because it's so empowering. It's so creative as well. And I really did feel like the best version of myself. And I'm not saying that I'm going to feel like that 24 hours a day, but I would like to be reminded of that feeling as much as possible. And now, when I have those photographs back, every time I look at my website, that's what I'm going to think of. So I'm really, really proud that I was able to do that, and that I'm so looking forward to the photographs anyway. And I'm really looking forward to you seeing them as well. So I will let you know when they're ready. Anyway, I digress slightly. Part of that feeling, though, did remind me of our responsibility to bear in mind the kind of legacy that we're going to be leaving for our children and our children's children, and way beyond that. There are some Indigenous tribes, and actually even in our own history, there was a belief that everything we did actually affected up to 7 future generations. And when we think about that, often we're talking about our effect on nature, on the earth, on how we treat the planet. What I do as a matter of course when got my homeopathic hat on is I'm looking at someone's health status, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'm mindful of where that originated, where it came from. Is it something that came within that client, that woman's actual life? Or is it something that they have inherited from their mothers or their fathers, their grandmothers or their grandfathers, and so on and so forth? Often we can have a sense of feeling something or behaving in a certain way, and we're not really sure where it came from. It just feels like, well, it's always been there, and it doesn't really almost feel like it belongs to me. Sometimes we're not aware of that at all. We just take it as part of our kind of character, part of our personality. And it's very seldom the case, actually. And if we understand that sometimes we are carrying unresolved issues that have not originated in our own lifetime, they are issues that have originated perhaps in our maternal line. And when I'm talking about women, the maternal line is really important in that. And I recognise now that many of the feelings that I had around all sorts of things, relationships, all sorts of things, were actually not mine. And that can sound a bit odd, but they were I clearly recognised them as being things that came from my mother. And once I understood my mother's life, they were, in all probability, mostly things from her mother. The point is, they were unresolved, they were unaddressed, unresolved, and therefore they continue being passed on from generation to generation. And they have more likelihood of that happening when we are not conscious of them, which is why I bang on and on about becoming conscious of what works for us, what doesn't work for us, what makes us healthy, what doesn't make us healthy. So it's part of the reason that when I'm working with somebody, particularly as a homeopath, but pretty much all the time now, I'm very much, there's a section of what we do where I do ask about your family health history. Now, I think a lot of people understand the effect of inherited traumas. There's been a lot of work done on the fact that victims of the Holocaust, victims that were in concentration camps, for example, that the effects of that, their emotional responses, and as well as their physical responses, are actually perpetuated often, not always, but often, in their children and their grandchildren. It's well documented now. So big collective traumas definitely are passed on if they are unresolved. Personal traumas are also passed on if they are unresolved. So do we have a responsibility, therefore, if not to ourselves, do we have a responsibility to future generations to actually look at those, to look at all the things that make up who we are, and to release them, resolve them, reframe them, settle them, put them to bed, whatever phrase you want to use. That can be hard on your own, but not impossible. But that's what most holistic practitioners are doing, is helping you to resolve health issues that are outstanding. Obviously, not only inherited, obviously it's live stuff as well. But when I work with clients, we often get to a stage where it gets a bit sticky, it gets a bit, it's not really moving quite as fluidly as it had been. And usually that is something that demands a really good deep look at, okay, where did this come from? So that's the kind of legacy I'm talking about, is your health legacy, because you pass your tissue on. I mean, literally, when we have children, those children they can only be made from the tissue that comes from you and from their fathers. That's just how it is. So physically, there are things passed on. It's like knitting a jumper. There's going to be maybe a little bit of a weak spot in some places if the wool is damaged. Same with us. Now, it doesn't ever have to manifest if we're aware of that weakness and we do something about it. We lead our lives in a way that strengthens that weak part and perhaps even rebuilds it, which is entirely possible. But what we don't understand often is that is also true of our emotional makeup and our spiritual makeup. And that's one of the beautiful things about homeopathy. It's something that has always been understood as being a vital part of recovering health for somebody. So I wanted to invite you to start thinking about your own timeline, if you like, and it's definitely something we do. If you come to work with me, that is something I will do automatically, is start to draw up that health timeline. And often you can see connections that you just have forgotten about, or that have got lost somehow. And once we understand where things come from, then we can do something about it if it's not working. Yeah, and the other thing is, just in terms of legacy, is how we lead our lives. Going right back to starting what I said today, is the legacy of how we are viewed, how we are remembered, what kind of energy comes to mind when somebody picks up a photograph, say, in 2 generations' time and goes, "Ooh, that was Auntie Rebecca. Wow, she was amazing. She did this, and she loved life, and she was vibrant, and she was stimulating, and always off doing different things." That's how I want to be remembered. That's the kind of legacy that I want to leave. I would like my children to be saying, "Gosh, I wonder what she's going to do now. I wonder what she's going to do next," in a good way. I don't want people to look at me and go, "Don't know anything about her. Don't know. What was she like? I don't know. She looks quite nice. Did she do anything? Haven't really heard much about her." So I'm just encouraging you to think about what footprint you're going to leave. What memories are you going to leave? What energy footprint are you going to leave? And maybe that will motivate you to do whatever it takes to allow yourself to feel as beautiful and joyous and vibrant and full of life as you can possibly feel, because it's infectious, and it's infectious even when we're gone. So yeah, I'm rambling on, I'm aware of that. So that's what I wanted to do this week, is just stimulate you to just have a really good think about what kind of legacy you'd like to leave. And if you find it difficult to mind yourself and to put things in place that enable you to self-care and be the best possible version of yourself that you can be, if that's hard, maybe thinking about, okay, but it's not about me, it's about future generations, perhaps that will help. So have a beautiful week, and I hope you feel as vibrant and as beautiful and as joyous as you can. Take care. Bye.